Unboxing the Redmi 10X Pro. So if you follow the channel, you would have seen me unbox the 10X, but this is the Pro version. Why is it Pro? It does add some hardware and functions over the non-Pro, most notably a bigger, better camera system, and also faster charging as well. But the look and feel of the phone is the same as the non-Pro. They have the same design, the same dimensions, the same features. So you get the same camera bump as well, but inside that camera bump, there are a lot of differences between the two. You still get USB-C at the bottom and the headphone jack, mono speaker as well. So that is the same as the non-Pro version. One of the bigger differences though is the charging specs, 33 watt fast charging on the Pro version versus 22 on the non-Pro. That is a big difference and actually a really good spec. You do get the same screen as well, which is a 60 Hz AMOLED panel, good looking AMOLED screen, no high refresh rates. The same screen as the non-Pro and the same feel and look on the front as well. You get that selfie camera in the notch. However, the selfie camera is different. 20 megapixels on this one versus the 16 megapixel on the non-Pro. And the fingerprint sensor, again, is the same as that phone. Fast, effective, not the fastest I've tried, but certainly does the job. The selfie camera does have a few more megapixels. That isn't going to fundamentally change the way that selfies look, but you would have to assume that because it is different and on the Pro version, it is going to be a slightly better camera overall. You do get the Mediatek 820 chipset, a brand new chipset debuted in these phones. And so far with this phone and the other phone, I'm really impressed with this chipset, especially for the price. It gives great bang for buck. It's powerful, it gets good benchmark results, and the image processing from a Mediatek chipset has been really good as well, especially for the price. And this is something amazing that you get in the Pro version. Remember the price of this phone. This is really like a mid or budget mid-range type of phone in terms of price, but you get an amazing 3x optical zoom camera in this phone. And you also get up to 30 times zoom range as well. Not only that, but you get a really awesome slider bar in the camera app, which reminds me a lot of the S20 Ultra. It's so easy to flick through all of the settings up to 30 times. Yeah, you can see it is very shaky. However, I will show you some images in a minute. It does take good images from that. I'm really impressed that I can get this zoom range and also the ease of use in the camera app from this phone. Similar to the non-Pro, I would say the ultra wide is a little bit dark. It doesn't have the best dynamic range, but it can take good looking shots. The selfie camera is surprisingly good. Good portrait shots as well. Images from this phone are very good. It is a very capable camera. You do lose dynamic range of that zoom range camera though. Macro mode from that depth sensor at 5 megapixels. That is something that you don't get on the non-Pro, and it is really good as well. There is a 4K option. You can record in 4K, but there is no stabilization, as you can see here. I suggest just putting it down to 1080p. It's a much better looking image. It does a really good job with stabilization. So I would use it in 1080p all the time, unless you're putting it on a tripod or you've got a gimbal, and then you're covered for that 4K as well. Very respectable video and images from this phone, I would say. The 4K, the 1080p, it's really good for this type of phone as well. It's definitely punching above its weight. Also, a really good feature, as you can see me recording now, this is the 3x telephoto lens. Even on other Redmi phones and a lot of other Redmi phones, you can't record off the zoom lens, but you can on this phone. So you can record off the ultra wide, like you can see here, the main and the 3x telephoto. That's another really good feature for this range of phone. The dynamic range isn't up to flagship standards, but definitely for a mid-range, it is really punching. Quick test of the selfie camera. Let me know what you think of it. I don't think there's too much stabilization on here, which definitely would be welcome, but Xiaomi don't have it on their more expensive phones, so not going to be the best on this budget phone. But overall, I think it takes pretty decent images, does the job well, and the camera system overall is just really good considering the price. That zoom range, 3x optical, 30x digital, and the zoom slider, it's a really good feature. Overall, just the functionality you get, the zoom range, the video on the zoom, and the ultra wide, and the good shots. Really pleased with this phone's camera overall. Yes, I have mentioned the price and the bang for your buck a lot. Here is the Chinese price. It is not going to be the same in your country, and it's probably going to be a bit more expensive, but I can only go on what I paid for this device. When it comes to gaming too, once again, it's just a really pleasing phone to use. A mid-range phone, but you can use PUBG in higher frame rate settings. Even though you don't get a high refresh rate on this phone, it definitely does help out. Gaming is smooth, absolutely no issues whatsoever, and it's just a pleasure on this phone. I would say really the only thing missing from this phone is that high refresh rate screen, but unfortunately at this price, some compromises have to be made, and a high refresh rate OLED screen is saved for those high-end Xiaomi phones. I much prefer a 60Hz OLED over a 120Hz LCD. That's just me personally, you may be different. But overall, this is a great phone, and I can't believe how much Redmi, Xiaomi have fit into this phone for the price. It has got a lot going for it, this phone, and I'm trying not to blow too much smoke up of its backside. But yeah, the Mediatek 820 chipset, cheaper than the Snapdragon chipsets. And for me, they've worked on a lot of things, especially the image processing. And overall, I just think this phone for the price does a really great job. Subscribe for all the latest tech news and videos. That's it for now, but I'll see you in the next one.